Okay, so we have been talking about school, en la escuela. So bienvenidos de nuevo. Estas son las palabras del vocabulario: la escuela, las ventanas, la puerta, el reloj, el autobús escolar, los árboles, las nubes. Vamos a practicar para hablar. La escuela es, puedo decir, grande, bonita, color café, etc. El autobús escolar es amarillo. Hay, how many? Un reloj en la pared. Hay, how many? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Hay 13 ventanas en la escuela. Hay árboles grandes y árboles pequeños. So here I put this on top of the other one. I didn't realize, but there are as many, exactly as many on the other side. And this goes with the previous video that I showed you in our lesson, so you can count. Hay 2 árboles grandes y 4 árboles pequeños. Ahora vamos a practicar. Let's practice. That's how you retrain your brain. That's how you learn, and all of that, through all of these things. So let's pause the video and practice. But for all of those of us here in class, let's move on, and then you will practice, and I'll pause the video. Okay, so 2 students will work together, and if you're at home and there is no other student or somebody else that you can practice with, then you just start with being estudiante A, and then you answer to yourself by being estudiante B, and then you can switch and so forth and so on. So anyway, estudiante A, ¿cómo es la escuela? Estudiante B, la escuela es, and then take a look and see what you're going to say. ¿Cuántas ventanas hay en la escuela? Etc. So let's go. Pause the video and practice a little bit, okay? And then you unpause it and let's move on to the next slide. All right. Ahora estamos en el salón de clases, en un salón de clases, o en otros países, in other countries they say el aula. So vemos la puerta, las puertas, las ventanas, el reloj, el pizarrón, la planta, la silla de la maestra, las sillas de los estudiantes, los escritorios, el cuaderno, el bolígrafo, la esfera o la bola del mundo, las paredes, el piso y el techo. And again, there is another chair behind here, but I covered it. I didn't realize. Anyway, let's move on. Ok, el reloj para practicar hablar y practicar las oraciones. So let's practice speaking and practice sentence structure and how to make sure that we keep the agreement between the noun, the adjective, and the article in terms of gender and number. Is very important in Spanish. So let's go. El reloj es blank and blank. So you can say 2 things about the clock. El reloj está en... ¿Dónde está el reloj? Aquí lo decimos. La silla de la maestra es blank and blank. So you can say either the colors or 2 other adjectives that you think you would like to say. Las paredes son... Estas son las paredes. So you say something about them to describe them. And el techo es... And then say something about that. Okay. So now let's just practice how to start describing things in general. So we would say we're describing this classroom. So en el salón de clases hay un, and then say what is it? Cuatro what? Okay. Dos what? Okay. Un blank. Un what? Okay, we could say this one, cinco of this one, right? And then no hay blank en el salón de clases. So what you don't see in this classroom, okay? All right, again, practice. So we're gonna pause after I show you what you have to do, and then I'll give you time to practice. If you are at home, take a look at the next slide because that's what you will actually need to do, and then you pause and practice. And that's how you learn, and that's how you retrain your brain to learn a new language or to learn other things that you would like to learn. Practice makes perfect. So again, it's a conversation, and I encourage all of you to actually create as many conversations both in your head and on paper as you would like, because they help you retraining your brain in the new language, and they're very, very useful. So let's take a look. Estudiante A, ¿cómo es el salón de clases? So estudiante B, el salón de clases es, and then you continue. ¿Cuántos pizarrones hay en el salón de clases? So you would say hay blank en el salón de clases, and so forth and so on. So with these dialogues, I especially want my students to start getting used to how to answer questions in Spanish, so you can explain situations, etc. And I definitely want all my students to answer using complete sentences, as complete as possible, and add as much information as possible, because that's how you learn. All right, so pause the video and then continue, and those of you here in class, I will pause it and I will get to hear all my students participating. Okay, moving on. Now estamos en otro salón de clases. We are in a different classroom now, so let's practice the vocabulary here. El salón de clases o el aula, el reloj, el pizarrón, las sillas de los estudiantes, los escritorios, los cuadernos, okay, los libros, el bolígrafo, la esfera o la bola del mundo, el archivo, las paredes, this one and the third one, el piso, la maestra y los estudiantes. Ahora vamos a practicar hablar y hacer oraciones y a describir cosas. So we're going to practice speaking, writing sentences and describing places, people, things, etc. So en el salón de clases hay una y tres. La maestra, and then you say something about what she does right now. So she reads, so la maestra lee. Los estudiantes, okay? Or you could use the verb enseñar. La maestra, I would use the verb enseñar. La maestra enseña. Los estudiantes, and then you would use the verb aprender. So you need to conjugate it in the plural, in the ellos form, because there are 3 students here, okay? That's very important. Again, we're gonna do practice now, so I will show you what to do and I will pause the video so the students can practice, and those of you at home, you will pause and you will take the time to actually do this practice properly. Let's go. ¿Qué hace la maestra? La maestra, then you say it. ¿Qué hacen los estudiantes? Los estudiantes, and then you say what verb and put it in the correct form. It's important to actually do this aloud so you are trained on speaking, because many times we read things and we think, oh, how wonderful, I can do all of this, but then when it comes to actually saying it aloud in front of somebody else, we totally freeze. So let's practice that too. All right, moving on. Estamos en otra escena, so la casa. Esta es la casa, el auto, o en other countries they say el coche or el carro, los árboles, la mamá, el papá, la niña y el niño. El auto es, and then you describe it. La casa es. Después de la escuela, los estudiantes van a. Nosotros vamos a la casa en. And then what article and what noun will you use here? All right, another practice. So remember, pause the video and actually take the time to do this properly. Say it aloud. And those of you here, I will give you time to practice, and then I will be very happy listening to all your dialogues. Let's take a look. This is the longest one so far, but that's great. ¿Qué hay al lado de la casa? And then you would say I. You could talk about this side or this side because I didn't specify which one. Al lado de la casa. ¿Quiénes están al frente de la casa? And then you say, and then están al frente de la casa. ¿Por qué? Why están ellos allí? Ellos, and then you say something that explains why are they there. ¿Cuándo vas a la escuela? Now these 3 questions here are about you. So, ¿cuándo vas a la escuela? And then the person answers. That's why I just left them with lines. I didn't say any specifics there. ¿Te gusta leer? So we would say, sí, me gusta leer, or no, no me gusta leer. And then, ¿por qué? Why? So, me gusta leer porque, y no me gusta leer porque, and then you answer. All right? Let's take time to practice. Okay, so now I will show you what the assessment is, and then I will send you the Google form, or I will include it together with this presentation on where to answer the questions. So take the time and write them properly. Remember, when you're writing about the accent marks in Spanish, remember that all the question words have accent marks, or at least 99% of them. We could ask things in different ways, like ¿te gusta leer?, for example, but the actual question words will have accent marks. Remember, ¿por qué? Means why, and then when you say because, that would be these 2 words together and no accent mark. And then also, I always remind my students that the question and exclamation marks in Spanish, we put them both at the beginning and at the end of the sentence, and always remember to type the periods, the commas, etc. All right, let's take a look at the assessment. Here it is, and I know that everybody will do great. The main point of this is for you to practice the best Spanish possible. All right, so esto es todo por hoy. Espero que hayan disfrutado la lección. Hasta pronto. Adiós.